What if you had only one chance, just one moment to speak English, and your future depended on it? Imagine standing in a busy airport. People are moving fast. Announcements are loud. Your heart is beating harder than ever. You know this is it. This is your test. Not in a classroom, not with a teacher, but in real life. And you cannot run away. This is the story of that moment, the airport test, where everything feels small except your fear. It started like any normal day. A dream to travel. A dream to explore a new country. But there was one problem. English. You learned it for years. You watched videos. You read books. You practiced alone. But deep inside, you were not ready. Or at least that's what you believed. The ticket was booked. The bag was packed. The plan was clear. But the fear was louder than everything else. What if I don't understand? What if I say something wrong? What if they laugh? These questions stayed in your mind like a shadow. And then, the day arrived. The airport was huge. Bigger than you imagined. Screens everywhere. Signs in English. People speaking fast. Different accents. Different voices. Everything felt confusing. You tried to stay calm, but your hands were shaking. You reached the check-in counter. This was the first test. The person behind the counter smiled and spoke. Simple words. Normal speed. But your brain froze. You understood some words, but not all. And suddenly, your confidence disappeared. This is where most people give up. This is where they stay silent. This is where fear wins. But something inside you said no. You took a small breath. You didn't try to be perfect. You didn't try to sound like a native speaker. You just tried to speak slowly. And something surprising happened. They understood you. Yes, maybe your grammar was not perfect. Maybe your sentence was simple. But it worked. The message was clear.
And that was enough.
But the real test was still coming. Security check.
Boardinggate.
Flight announcements. Every step felt like a challenge. Every step asked one question. Will you speak, or will you stay silent? You heard people asking questions. You saw people talking with confidence. And again, that voice came back. You are not good enough. But then something changed. You looked around and realized something powerful. No one was perfect. People were making mistakes. People were asking again and again. People were using simple words. And no one cared. No one was judging. No one was laughing. No one was watching you. This is where everything changed. You understood something very important. English is not about perfection. It is about communication. It is about courage. It is about trying even when you are afraid. And then the biggest moment came. At the boarding gate, there was a problem.
Your seat was changed.
The staff started speaking quickly. You didn't understand everything. The pressure was high. Time was running. This was the climax. This was the moment where most people panic. But not this time. This time you stayed calm. You listened carefully. You asked again. You used simple words. You used your hands. You used your confidence, not your grammar. And finally, you solved the problem. You got your new seat. You walked into the plane. And in that moment, you realized something beautiful. You did it. Not perfectly, but bravely. And that is what matters. Because the truth is, the airport was never the real test. The real test was inside you. Your fear, your doubt, your belief that you are not ready. But what happened next? You sat on your seat. You looked outside the window. And for the first time you smiled because now you knew you don't need perfect English to start. You need courage to try. You don't need big vocabulary. You need simple words and a strong heart. You don't need to wait for the right time. Because the right time is now. Remember this, you will never feel 100% ready. You will always feel a little fear. But growth happens in that fear. Confidence grows when you speak. And success comes when you don't give up. So, the next time you feel scared to speak English, think about this moment. Think about the airport. Think about that pressure. And remember, you survived it. You spoke. You tried. You moved forward. And that is how real learning happens. Not in silence, but in action. Not in perfection, but in courage. Your life is full of these small tests. Maybe not in an airport. Maybe in a classroom. Maybe in a job interview. Maybe in a simple conversation. But every time, the question is the same. Will you speak? Or will you stay silent?
Choose to speak.
Even if your voice shakes. Even if your words are simple. Even if your English is not perfect. Because one day, that one chance will change everything. And when that moment comes, you will be ready. If this story touched you, if you felt this fear and this courage, then don't stop here. Like this video. Subscribe for more stories like this. And watch the next video because your journey is just beginning.